Tell them boys to give me 150 M's. I'm coming. You know what I mean? When I start screaming out that, start talking that, stop it, knock it off, cuz. Stop it.
Davis and Terence Crawford have taken their feud from social media trash talk to near physical blows. It all escalated when Davis crossed the line by hurling insults at Crawford and his family. In response, Crawford didn't hold back, vowing to break Davis's neck.
If we was to fight right now on the streets, I'll break your neck. And that's on my kids. And you know it, I know it, and the whole world know it.
Maybe not his neck this time, but Tank Davis is unlikely to avoid facing the consequences of his actions. Of course, Davis didn't stay silent, offering his own response. However, many seem to forget that when it comes to a street fight, Terence Crawford is no pushover. His early years as a wrestler make him more than capable of holding his own.
No fighting in the ring. If me and you was to fight outside, I will break.
Davis's final word on the feud came in a now-deleted post on X, where he challenged Crawford to return to the welterweight division, promising to move up and beat the hell out of the former undisputed champion in his own weight class. This feud between Davis and Terence Crawford has been escalating for days, with tensions seemingly sparked by Tank's frustration over not being invited to the Ring magazine gala. What followed was a heated exchange on social media, where the two boxing champions went all out, trading verbal blows about their bank accounts and career resumes. The feud between Davis and Crawford began when Crawford seemingly reacted to Davis voicing his frustration over not being invited to the Ring Awards, a prestigious event celebrating boxing's standout moments of the year. On social media, Davis used the opportunity to criticize several of the attendees, but his posts were quickly deleted. Of course, the internet never forgets, and screenshots began circulating. Crawford wasn't one to stay silent. He chose the perfect moment to provoke the Baltimore native, posting on X, "I see somebody's mad they weren't invited to the Ring magazine gala." That single jab was enough to push Davis over the edge. While Crawford pointed out that he wasn't invited to the Ring Awards either, Davis clearly took offense to his humor. Tank fired back, claiming he makes more money than Crawford. What started as a light argument quickly escalated into a full-on war over who had the bigger bank account. The tension between the two grew as their words got sharper. "I still make more than you," Davis said to Crawford, who responded by saying his legacy is about more than just money. He's focused on making an impact at the highest level of boxing. It's worth noting that there was already bad blood between the two, as Davis had supported his friend Errol Spence Jr. in the rivalry with Crawford before their 2023 fight. The argument on X was starting to cool off, but Davis reignited it with a post that took a low blow, targeting someone who wasn't even part of the feud. He tweeted, "He's got like 8 kids and his wife's like 380 pounds. Yeah, buddy gotta work overtime." The tweet was quickly deleted, but not before the internet grabbed a screenshot. As expected, Davis faced backlash for involving someone's family in the drama. Critics called him insecure, pointing out that while he's fighting Lamont Roach, Crawford is taking on top fighters and making real moves in the sport, earning big paydays in the process. Davis definitely crossed a major line with that tweet. He often deletes his defamatory posts after throwing punches, only to backpedal. People on X criticized the 30-year-old for acting this way, calling it pathetic. Meanwhile, Davis is gearing up for his fight with Lamont Roach Jr., while Crawford could finally get his long-awaited bout with Canelo. It remains to be seen whether the negotiations with Alalshik are progressing as planned. Davis also pushed back against the idea that Crawford is trying to make history by challenging multi-division champion Canelo Alvarez. He argued that it's not about greatness for Crawford, it's about securing a big payday. "You all think he's chasing greatness, but that's what he has to do to make decent money," Davis said, referring to Crawford's upcoming fight. When talking about Davis, it's important to recognize his power as a puncher. Many believe he's even stronger than Crawford. With 30 fights under his belt, Davis remains undefeated, boasting 28 knockouts.
Gervonta Davis speaking about you. Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to...
Brian Norman Jr., the World Boxing Organization welterweight champion, who has sparred with both Davis and Crawford, pointed out the stark differences between the two fighters. Frank Martin, the 23-year-old who lost to Davis, serves as a clear example of Davis's power. At 30-0 with 28 knockouts, Davis recently defended his World Boxing Association lightweight title by stopping Martin. Davis has often claimed that he can knock out any opponent with a single punch and, throughout his career, has become known as one of the most dangerous punchers in the lightweight division.
To be great. He can be like all the other fighters that's moving up 2 weight classes and, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man,
Davis's strength often serves as his wild card, allowing him to end fights with a single powerful blow. On the other hand, Crawford, with an impressive 40-0 record and 31 knockouts, has been dominating the welterweight division for the past 2 years. Recently, he moved up to the junior middleweight division, where he won a World Boxing Association belt by outpointing Israel Madrimov. Crawford's style contrasts with Davis's. He's more strategic, preferring to wear down his opponents before delivering the decisive blow. The discussions between these two fighters weren't confined to the gym. Social media also buzzed with their back and forth.
Come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said, I got a glass chin, so tell him come and touch it.
Oh, man.
Said,
when Davis backed Errol Spence Jr. against Crawford, calling Crawford's chin glass, Crawford shot back, challenging him to move up to 147 and test his chin. While the back and forth didn't escalate into a major conflict, the next big fight for Davis could be against Shakur Stevenson, likely happening next year. If Davis and Stevenson do face off, it will be a whole different ballgame. Davis will need to neutralize Stevenson's defensive skills with his own power. Stevenson, known for his awkward counterpunching style, was criticized for being lazy with his jab in his last fight against Artem Harutyunyan. This cautious approach could pose problems when facing a powerful puncher like Davis.
Got a glass?
He said, I got a glass chin. Tell him to come and touch it.
At 147?
At 147. I'll make 147.
Both Davis and Terence Crawford are elite fighters with impressive knockout records, but they have very different fighting styles. Davis is a lethal power puncher, capable of knocking out any opponent with just one punch, making him a dangerous threat in the ring. In contrast, Crawford relies on a variety of punches and techniques to control his opponents over an entire round, using his strategic approach to wear them down before delivering the finishing blow.
Oh, see, oh man.
You're going to have a pre-count.
Then what the people going to say? Oh, he's beating up on little guys.
As both Davis and Stevenson continue to build their boxing careers, a potential ring meeting between them could be the next big matchup to capture the attention of boxing fans. However, this wouldn't be the first time Crawford took a shot at Davis. After Crawford defeated Errol Spence Jr. and became the undisputed champion, he heard about Davis claiming he could beat him at 147 pounds. Crawford didn't let the comment slide, taking a subtle jab at the Baltimore native in response.
Gave a little prediction on the fight, talked about Errol has a metal shield and you have a glass shield, talk about the punch resistance. What do you think of Tank's assessment, man?
Speaking on the Breakfast Club, Crawford calmly acknowledged Davis's skills in the ring, but also emphasized that there are different levels in boxing. He downplayed the banter, stating that if Davis moves up to 147 thinking he can just knock Crawford out, he's in for a surprise. While a fight between the two American boxing icons may never happen, Crawford has his sights set on just one fight ahead, his long-awaited showdown with Canelo Alvarez.
Gave a little prediction on the fight, talked about Errol has a metal shield and you have a glass shield, talk about the punch resistance. What do you think of Tank's assessment, man?
Terence Crawford and Gervonta Tank Davis are currently separated by 3 weight divisions, though they've competed in the same classes in the past. Crawford started his career at lightweight, where Davis is now a world champion. Crawford then became undisputed at super lightweight, a division where Davis has also claimed a title. Since then, Crawford has moved up, dominating the welterweight division before making his debut at 154 pounds last year. Meanwhile, Davis remains at 135, holding the World Boxing Association world title and knocking out every challenger. While Tank has claimed in the past that he could knock Crawford out, likely in jest, Crawford, the bigger man, has warned him not to punch above his weight.
I mean, you came up from 35, right?
He ain't fighting no real guys at 47.
So, okay. What about everyone's talking about Errol?
While a fight between Davis and Crawford seems unlikely, some believe it wouldn't be a clear outcome. In an interview with Real Life Productions, multi-division world champion Roy Jones Jr. called it a good damn fight, clearly thinking it would be competitive if the two met just below the welterweight limit. He gave Tank a solid chance, citing one key reason: "I don't see nobody around that's going to beat Bud unless it's somebody way bigger than him." However, Jones emphasized that if they fought around 145 pounds, it would be a great matchup, urging people not to sleep on Tank's chances.
But Crawford, on the other hand, I don't see nobody around that's gonna beat Bud unless somebody way bigger than him. But don't sleep on the fact that
Roy Jones Jr. pointed out that both Davis and Crawford have high boxing IQs, but Tank's explosiveness sets him apart, something Errol Spence Jr. lacked. Jones noted that an explosive fighter can go far, as he himself was able to cover multiple weight classes due to his own explosiveness, which keeps opponents on edge. While Crawford is focused on securing a fight with super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez, a challenge that would require a 14 pounds jump, Davis is preparing for his upcoming fight against Lamont Roach Jr. in March. According to his latest press conference, Davis plans to retire by the end of the year. Meanwhile, Tank fans can look forward to a showdown with Roach Jr., scheduled for March 1st at the Barclays Center.
if him and Tank fought at about 145, that's a good daggone fight, you understand me? Matter of fact, I'm gonna say, that's a good damn fight, you understand me? Because they both have very high IQs, and Tank is very explosive. See, that's the one thing Tank got there.
While Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez seems likely to happen this year, Gervonta Davis has now inserted himself into the conversation. Reports suggest that Crawford and Canelo have agreed to terms for their mega fight, which will bring together two of the best pound-for-pound fighters in boxing. However, Davis stirred the pot by firing off a series of strong accusations and harsh words, including out-of-bounds insults about Crawford's wife in a now-deleted post. The two went back and forth, each claiming to have made more money in their careers.
I got a question for you, Tank. At 147, how does a fight with you and Terence Crawford look?
147?
147.
I tapped that trend.
Davis hit back with a classic rich person flex, telling Crawford, "First thing a dumb rich person says to another rich person is, 'I got more money than you. I bet you I own more investments than you, and I don't owe $1 in taxes.'" He continued, "You can't buy anything I can't buy that I want, and that's a fact. Let's see whose money lasts the longest, smart guy." Crawford responded by calling Davis's attempt to downplay his wealth dumb, pointing out that both are multimillionaires who live comfortable lives. He implied that Davis's finances might not hold up over time, while his own would continue to grow, as he's invested wisely. Davis quickly refuted the idea that Crawford's money was anywhere near his own, all while showing a clear lack of respect toward the Nebraska native.
I already know. I already know who he is. I already know who he is.
Said no chance.
I got round 5.
Davis responded to Crawford's attacks with a heated message. "On my mama, you don't dumbhead boy," he wrote, lashing out after Crawford tried to downplay his status in comparison to Davis's. Tank continued, "This is what happens when a guy never had stuff. They start talking crazy." He then added, "Guy, if you didn't know, they were calling me before you, dumbhead, and still calling. You're still in the same position, bum eater. You still got to do as you're told, fool." Undeterred, Crawford fired back, stating that his average pay per fight is higher than Davis's. He continued, "Aside from the little knockout specialist, 2023, meet about with Ryan Garcia. By the way, little guy, don't speak too soon, because you definitely aren't making more than me, fighting who you're fighting." Crawford took another jab, adding, "That's why you're talking about fighting Ryan again."
Yeah, I got round 6.
And I got a metal shield. And the opposite person got a glass shield.
Mike Coppinger, an ESPN boxing reporter, backed up Crawford's claim by revealing that Crawford earned more money for his bouts against Israel Madrimov and Errol Spence than Davis has in 3 of his last 4 fights. Excluding the Ryan Garcia fight, Crawford's earnings for his bouts with Madrimov and Spence far exceed Davis's pay for his fights with Frank Martin, Hector Luis Garcia, and the upcoming bout with Lamont Roach. Coppinger noted this to add credibility to Crawford's boast. However, neither Crawford nor Coppinger confirmed or claimed that Crawford's net worth is higher than Davis's.
Sad. Yeah, but how much he run around once them hands get on him, it's gonna slow him down. And definitely if he touch him.
The question of who has made more money in their career, Terence Crawford or Gervonta Davis, doesn't have a straightforward answer. Only a select few people, like PPV network executives, promoters, and managers, know the true figures, and they're unlikely to reveal them. While the definitive answer isn't publicly available, there are facts, opinions, and perspectives to consider. ESPN's Mike Coppinger believes Crawford has earned more, largely thanks to his pay-per-view battle with Errol Spence Jr. in 2023 and his fight against Israel Madrimov in August 2024.
Legacy nor greatness with Bud, which is why he resorted to talking money. Then, when Terence Bud Crawford came out and checked Gervonta in that department as well, by stating, quote, by the way,
Davis had one major pay-per-view event, his impressive TKO victory over Ryan Garcia in April 2023. Despite this, Davis remains one of the biggest draws in boxing, with his pay-per-view earnings significantly surpassing Crawford's. While Crawford may be more respected among fellow fighters for his skill, Davis's popularity likely gives him an edge in terms of earning potential and financial success. For those unfamiliar with the sport, purse totals are often seen as the primary measure, but any professional in the industry, whether a manager, promoter, trainer, or journalist, will tell you that these figures represent only a portion of a fighter's true earnings.
Hey, little guy, don't speak too soon because you're definitely not making more money than me fighting who you've been fighting. That's why you talking about fighting Ryan again.
The real money for fighters has traditionally come from their ability to sell pay-per-views, especially once they reach that level. However, Al Heyman has altered this model by offering fighters more guaranteed money through his management, which is separate from the pay-per-view sales. This approach allows fighters to secure steady earnings, regardless of how well their pay-per-view events perform. Ellerby has insisted that Davis makes 8 figures per fight, which seems reasonable considering Tank's drawing power. However, it hasn't always been this way for the lightweight champion. To determine when Davis reached that level is crucial for understanding the financial comparison between him and Crawford. Crawford, at 37, has been a professional since 2008 and a world champion since 2014. Davis, at 30, began his professional career in 2013 and won his first world title in 2017. These milestones are key to understanding the financial trajectory of both fighters.
Bud is referring to Gervonta asking for $150 million to fight Ryan again at 140 in the division Ryan is not going to move back down to again.
Based on their years of activity, it's clear that Crawford has been performing at a championship level longer than Davis. Championship fights and main event slots typically lead to larger payouts, so from a 10-year perspective, Crawford could have an edge in earnings. However, Davis's undeniable popularity, reflected by his 7.5 million Instagram followers and 7.8 million followers on X, plays a significant role. In comparison, Crawford, who has been active on Instagram longer, only has 8 million followers on X and 468K on Instagram. While these numbers aren't the only factors in determining earning potential, social media reach has become increasingly important in the entertainment industry, which highlights the rising value of influencers in today's market.
Gervonta to be calling out Ryan, a fighter, no one is asking Gervonta to fight again. We asking Gervonta to fight.
Due to Davis's meteoric rise in popularity, he's likely averaged more money per fight than Crawford up until now. However, this could be changing with Al Sheikh's involvement, as no US-based promoters can compete with the guaranteed money he's offering to fighters for high-demand fights. Crawford's reported $10 million payday for fighting Madrimov will likely be overshadowed by the sum he could earn from a potential fight with Canelo, which seems increasingly likely. Meanwhile, Davis is gearing up for a fight in March that he will need to promote and carry on his own, without the same level of external backing.
Who doesn't want to do VADA testing? Who doesn't want to do any rehydration calls? Matter of fact, he doesn't even want to make weight. we all know Gervonta is not going to agree to any of that. In fact, leading up to...
With all due respect to Lamont Roach Jr., a legitimate world champion, he doesn't have the name or following to bring Davis the kind of pay-per-view audience needed to match Crawford's earning potential. If Davis is to continue securing major paydays, he'll need to fight big names like Vasyl Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, and possibly Keyshawn Davis if he keeps winning. Otherwise, if Davis remains outside of Al Sheik's growing network of fighters, it might be difficult for him to find compelling matchups that generate big paydays. That's all for now. Stay updated on the latest news, events, and actions in the world of boxing by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you'll know when we release content like this. Until next time, peace out.